Oi. It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesdays.
Okay, so let's get into it. So a lot has been happening over the last 2 weeks. Unfortunately, I was not able to bring you an episode last week, and it's not that the episode wasn't recorded. It was all recorded, all good to go, but something in me was like, just take a moment, take a pause, don't put this out. The episode primarily had to do with the Netflix series on Jeffrey Dahmer, which I completely loved. I think I'm a little bit obsessed, but I needed to take a moment just to reflect on what I was saying, there was a lot I was saying in that podcast, and I was like, you dedicated a full 30 minutes to this. Pause. Let's just make sure what we're saying is still our views, and we still believe them in a week from now. So yeah, I've been watching the Jeffrey Dahmer case. I know Kanye has come out with some nonsense on several occasions, and I don't know, I think in the early hours of Monday morning, there was a tweet that I read about a football star who came out, and then a couple of hours later deleted this post and was like, no, it was just all for jokes, which is quite, that's a whole nother story. But let's get into what's been, simmering in the background, in the back of my mind. Okay, Jeffrey Dahmer, I don't even know where to begin anymore around this specific story. It's not even a new story. This story is, it's well well into its decades of existence. But it's a fascinating story, I think, for anyone who is interested in true crime series. I do dabble in the field once in a while, but I really, really enjoyed this. And I think what I particularly enjoyed most about this series was the way that it was shot. It wasn't necessarily shot from the perspective of the perpetrator of the crime, though that is, should I say that? Yeah, it was shot normally, which is shot from the perpetrator of the crime or from the victim lens. This had a good blend of the two different, I don't want to say characters, but the two different characters, or the two different groups of characters, one being Jeffrey Dahmer and then the other being the victims. And I feel like in this specific series, what was really centralized for the viewer was the experience of the victim, because this is actually one of Netflix's most watched series, I think, for the year, or just generally over the last however long. There's gonna be a lot of spoiler alerts. If you haven't watched it, well, go watch it, boo. Don't make it my problem. So yeah, I think for me, what really took me about this specific series, I think it was just it wasn't even the instances. It was watching for the first time a character or a serial killer who was gay. A gay man who was a serial killer. I found that completely fascinating. Actually, it's what hooked me, it's what enticed me, it's what made me want to just figure out what was happening in Jeffrey Dahmer's head. But also the opening scene. I mean, we are essentially watching Jeffrey pick up this young, vibrant black man, take him back to his apartment. This man wants to leave, and then obviously Jeffrey Dahmer wants to keep him captive, wants to keep him locked up, is ready to kill him, take his life, and then I think we know how the story goes. Yeah, we know how the story goes, which wasn't the case with this specific potential victim. He got away. He was able to get the cops and eventually get Jeffrey arrested, which wasn't the case for several other characters in the series. But obviously this is a series. It's based on a true story, so this was not the case for many other victims who fell prey to Jeffrey Dahmer's to his methods of, to his predatorial methods. I hope that sounds right. Yeah. It was quite emotionally draining for me, the whole thing, watching this specific series, and I think it was because there were so many black men who were targeted by Jeffrey. I'm always cautious to I'm very cautious when it comes to saying that these were deliberate attacks, though they were deliberate in their end result by Jeffrey. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna leave it there. This is exactly why I'm always like touch and go about talking about this, because my own personal view is that yes, the attacks were deliberate in that Jeffrey was hunting in that area. Whether he was deliberately attacking black men, I don't think that was the case. I think we all need to center ourselves within the time of the 80s. It's not like we were living in 2022 where, you can sneeze and maybe bump into several gay men. But back then, everyone was hidden. Everyone was trying to survive. It was during the HIV/AIDS pandemic, so there was that people were confronting with, and people were just looking for a space to be free. So I think that he had a particular taste by the looks of it. And actually, now I'm going to take back my words, because I think that he was very deliberate in his type of victim. I think he was very though he found the black body and black men beautiful, who made up predominantly the vast majority of his victims, I think that it was deliberate. I think that he knew that he could get away with it a lot easier than he would get away with murdering a white gay man. And maybe that's not the case. I don't know the experience of a white man during the 80s. A lot of the stuff that I viewed has been the experience of people of color in the 80s. Very interesting with me. So yeah, I think he was very deliberate. I think he knew that it was much easier to prey on black men as opposed to white men. And that's sad. That's sad now that I come to reflect on it after a week. Maybe it was a good idea that I took a break from releasing last week's episode. It is quite sad when I come to reflect on it. I mean, he does say that he found these men to be gorgeous and beautiful and which is neither here nor there, or in fact maybe it is somewhere in this whole narrative. Maybe he was deliberate in the type of man that he wanted to be with. I mean, we all have preferences, even though we are trying to break down those barriers, but some people do have preferences, and maybe Jeffrey Dahmer's preference was black men, from a sexual perspective, not just from a murderous perspective. Yeah, I'm really struggling with the story this week. There's a lot for me to think about. But yeah, so I have been preoccupied with that. I do love the way that it was shot. I think that, who is it? Oh gosh, I forget his name. Ryan. Let your boy just look this up real quick. Oh, every time I always forget his name. Ryan Murphy. There we go. I do love the stories that Ryan Murphy always comes up with, or that his perspective, in fact. I love that a lot. So I was really taken by the way that this was shot, the way that he captured this, the way that he had decided to delve into the story. One of my most touching episodes was the one with Tony. Tony was one of the characters who Jeffrey murdered. That was my most touching episode. I wish I could say that I thought initially, in fact, yes. I thought initially that Tony was Jeffrey's longest relationship, and that he could have been Jeffrey's escape out of his compulsion, out of his need to murder, to kill, to take lives. But then I delved into the Jeffrey Dahmer, I think it was the confession tapes, where it was just recounting from his perspective the tapes. And no, I changed my mind. This man he did not care. There was nothing in him that cared for his victims. I think that he was just sick. He was really, really sick. He had a lot of mental issues that he needed to work through. He needed help. And there was no one there to help him at the time. Or he had access to help, and he just wasn't ready himself, and that obviously lends itself to a conversation around mental health and the importance for us to really take care of our own mental health and really pay attention to that, which of course then brings us into our next story around Kanye West. Oh, good Lord. I don't even know why I'm bringing myself or bringing this into this week's episode, because I have oh gosh, I have so many thoughts, so many thoughts around Kanye West and what he's gotten up to over this last week. It's been wild, it's been crazy, it's been terrifying. This is just heavy. It's really just heavy, I think. Yeah, it's just heavy because Kanye, I think I'm done with Kanye. If I could, I would just cancel him. Personally speaking, I would just be like, just cancel this man, because actually the levels of disrespect, the levels of abuse, the levels of violence that we have experienced over the last couple of days are just beyond anything anyone should actually have to go through. But let's begin with the story, which began sometime last week. I forget which day. In Paris, Kanye debuted his line of clothing, I suppose, or I don't know, he debuted something, but he obviously, I don't know if it was a line of clothing, but as part of the collection of items at this debut was a shirt, and on the shirt was printed was printed the commentary White Lives Matter. I believe, I might be mistaken, I believe it was the Gabriella, the Vogue's global fashion editor. She commented and said, okay, yes, the shirts were pure violence. I think that she did also speak about a dystopian future where, I don't know, maybe this was what was egging Kanye on in terms of the design in order to speak about, I don't know, a future where white lives do matter because they're at risk of being extinct, which is another conversation I've been seeing happening on the fringes of many social media accounts, but I've seen it happening. People talking about the extinction of white people just across the world. From there, she also called the shirt dangerous. During this runway presentation, I believe Jaden Smith walked out of the venue because obviously a White Lives Matter shirt is not going to go down well. From there was just a little bit of a spiral. I think on social media then Kanye did have words which he expressed about Gabriella. I believe that's the name, Gabriella, yeah. Which he expressed about Gabriella, and a lot of people took we had a problem with that because obviously you're attacking a black woman who's at the top of her game and you are making her seem like, I don't know, she's crazy and she doesn't know what she's doing, that you're an artist and you're great at and which I just found completely boring because I was just like, actually this shirt is tone deaf, it's insensitive, and you know, as Gabriella said, it's violence. You're actually committing violence here. Just because of the current state of the world and the current state of many places in the world where, you know, it's black people are still suffering. Black people are still trying to address the systemic racism that is prevalent in these regions. At every level, and it's really just not in America alone, it's not in Europe alone, it's definitely not in South Africa alone, it's globally, in fact, and at many different levels, in fact at all levels, not many different levels, at all levels, you know, which, so obviously everyone took just issue with this shirt. I did see a couple of, I wouldn't even say cute, I did see a couple of memes where people were like, I don't know who he's trying to market this to, maybe it was the KKK. It just went on and on and on and on and on. Somewhere in all of this, I think that Diddy commented and said to everyone, you know what, don't buy these shirts. Who else had something to say? I think Yasin, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Yasin Bey also, he then took the shirt and I think almost not typixed out, but tried to make the V in lives fade, so it was, I think, White Lives Matter, which I found humorous, but unfortunately at that point the damage had been done. Something that I've seen Kanye do over the last couple of years, or the last couple of months, in fact, ever since he got a divorce from Kim, is that when the public doesn't resonate well with him, he deflects and brings Kim into the narrative, which he did. Talking about how he hadn't seen his children, talking about like Kim is keeping his children away from him, he's trying to be a father, whatever. You know, Chloe then also jumped into this conversation and said, I've seen the text, my guy. I have seen the text, and you're lying. Once that obviously had faded away, then we're attacking Gabriella, we're attacking Kim, we are then attacking poor Virgil like a dead man, like we're attacking a dead man, your friend, someone who you saw as a brother, you know, we're attacking him, we're like, it just all got kind of messy. Then there was an interview, I'm not even gonna get into that because I didn't even bother watching that, because I was just, at that point I was like, I've had enough of Kanye. I've just had enough of Kanye, and I don't think collectively as a people we need to enable him any further. Like, this is just not okay, and especially because like his fans are out here just celebrating him and thinking that, oh, this is great, you know. Somewhere in all of this, while I wasn't paying attention, he got kicked off of Instagram, and then Kanye quickly moved over to Twitter and started tweeting away. And not even for a while, it was just a hot mess from that point. Because I think the whole weekend ended with Kanye having anti-Semitism. Ooh, child, Guys, I'm so bad with English this week. I don't even know why. I'm just gonna say, with having negative views, or violent views against Jewish people, which then got him kicked off of Twitter. I'm fine with it, I suppose, and I'm happy that we've removed him from having these outlets where he can just spew whatever he wants to spew. He can just infect us all, obviously, with a rhetoric and with hate speech and violence and all of this. I think we should have stopped him when the White Lives Matter shirt came out last week, because that was already highly insensitive. That was already just violence on every level. By the time you are attacking Jewish people, it's late. So much damage has been done. I don't care for Kanye as much as I once had. I don't care for him because he doesn't care for himself. He doesn't have the respect and I don't know. He's not thinking, in my mind. He's just not thinking. The shit was tone deaf to the current state of the world. It was tone deaf. I don't even know what the explanation for what the shirt was about. I just think that he wanted to make a statement. He wanted to, I don't know, make a bang, wanted to grab our attention, wanted to share his political views, and all of that is great. It's really, really great. But unfortunately, nobody wants, I don't want to hear it. I don't know if maybe his audience wants to hear it. I don't want to hear it. During a conversation with my friends, I actually did say at one point, I was actually really considering, just taking, or wherever all the music on my Apple Music and just being okay, I'm deleting all this music by Kanye, because I can't keep supporting someone who repeatedly over the last couple of years has shown how little value he has in black people. Yeah. I don't know what more I can say. When it comes to the shirt itself, obviously there were views that the shirt was violence. There was view that the shirt was just maybe talking about a dystopian future. What I thought was that maybe Kanye is being ironic in the sense that, yes, Black Lives Matter, but White Lives Matter, period. Maybe that was the statement. Just obviously being very frank about the systemic racism in the world, White Lives Matter. I mean, it would make sense, but it just didn't land correctly. And as an artist, I don't know why anyone around him would not have told him that this is not going to land, especially if the audience doesn't have the background information or wasn't privy to the process of how we got here, how this was created, how this specific statement becomes the statement that is the one that is, I don't know, it's chosen out of the many others that you could have picked. Or at least that's what I'm assuming. It's tone deaf. No, I was just oh, this is boring. This man is boring. When he started attacking Kim, I definitely was no, we've gone too far. Okay, you've attacked a black woman, you've attacked Kim, you've attacked Virgil, who is a dead man, you've attacked Diddy, you've attacked Jews, you've attacked everybody. Okay, everyone is just we're tired of you. We don't want to hear from you right now. I do appreciate that Instagram and Twitter have decided to block him, and remove some of the, I don't want to say questionable, some of the hate speech. In fact, remove a lot of the hate speech from their platforms. It is disappointing, however, that I do suspect that after a couple of months, or I don't know, a week or two, he will be back on the platform posting and Or worse still, he will create his own platform, which he will then make us all flock towards just to get a piece of his music, get a piece of whatever the case might be. I have no interest of going back to Kanye. I think that he is a creative genius, or whatever the case might be, and I'm tired of that being the rhetoric that we use, because there's only so much celebration we can do in terms of you as an artist. At this point, it's just like, you don't care about us, so why should we care about you and your music and what you put out there? I think he is arrogant. I think that he is narcissistic. I think that he's a man that is going through many things. I do worry about his children, who will one day have access to all of this material, have access to all of these things that he's been doing over the last couple of months, and just have to sit back and question and really think about all of that stuff. In fact, never mind that. What about what's happening in real life right now? The danger that you put your children in, just by being tone deaf, by not, I don't know. You know, whatever, Kanye. Whatever. I'm done with that guy. Okay. I'm being a little bit dramatic. Oh my gosh, but I'm exhausted. The heat this last week, guys, it's oppressive. It's really oppressive. Like, my brain is like, oh, I'm frying. I can't even think. I don't even have words anymore. So, the 11th of October is coming out day. And if you didn't know, the day is to bring awareness to the LGBTQIA plus community, to our brothers and sisters who are considering coming out because they're in the closet, who are coming out, who want to escape the closet. And yeah, I think the day is quite fitting that it is during Africa Pride Month. We, as I said at the beginning of the episode, so many African countries still oppress so many African countries oppress large or vast majorities of their people, just trying to sway them from being gay and. So, to everyone who came out yesterday on the 11th of October 2022, welcome to the party. And may you live a full life, full of beauty, full of love, full of light, full of joy. To those who are still in the closet, don't despair. Your time will come. I personally can understand that it takes a lot to come out of the closet. It takes a lot to undo the mental narrative that's going on in your brain around coming out. Never mind the fear, never mind your societal situation, never mind all the other burdens that might be hindering you from coming out. So whether you're in the closet or whether you're outside of the closet, wherever you are on this beautiful spectrum, I celebrate you. I wish you light and love more than anything else. That being said, oh gosh, there was some BS happening on Monday morning. I'm so bad with people's names. I think because he's from Madrid, and I don't know I don't know how the accent goes, but a soccer player, I think he's a former soccer player. I think his name is Iker, or I don't know. I'm just gonna go with Iker. Whatever. He tweeted that something along the lines that he wanted to tell, he thinks that it's time that everybody knew that he was gay, whatever the case might be. Then another football player who was his friend then commented and said something along the lines, it's time to tell them about us. And this tweet stayed up for a while, and then it was subsequently taken down. And when Iker took it down, I think he said something along the lines of like, oh, I was hacked, I apologize, and gosh, yeah, it's just a lot, because actually I don't think it was sincere. I don't think it was sincere, but whatever the case might be, a Stonewall spokesperson said then, in relation to this whole activity, it is disappointing to see homophobic jokes being made at the expense of LGBTQIA plus players and fans. Whatever their intent, our words matter. At Stonewall, we'll continue to fight for a better world where LGBTQIA plus people can play the sports we love as our will continue to fight for a better world where LGBTQIA plus people can play the sports we love as ourselves. Yeah. Like I'm busy saying, I don't think it was a sincere apology. No, I don't think it was a sincere apology. I think it was very deliberate to go on social media and make such a comment and then leave it up there for a while, and then when the heat was getting hot under the collar, then to take it down. I mean, you could have been sitting with your friends and then deciding, oh, it would be funny if we post on Twitter that, you know, you're gay, and then you run along with it out of a dare, whatever the case might be. It is unfortunate though that this is anyone's form of entertainment for that fact. I know that a lot of us, or a lot of people feel that in 2022 we're all being super sensitive around a lot of issues that we really shouldn't be sensitive around, and we should just let things go. To some extent I agree with that, and to other extents I do not agree with that. And I don't think I can agree with it until I see real acceptance of LGBTQIA plus people across every level. As I have been saying and preaching about for most of this year, something that is very dear and important to my heart is representation, and the importance of allowing LGBTQIA plus people to be who they are in any, in any sport, any TV character, any sector of life or sphere of life, whatever the case might be that they choose to be a part of. This comment was in ill taste. It was just a cheap comment, cheap tweet, in fact, to make. And I just don't know why we let people get away with this all the time. We let people hurt people through these violent interactions, and then somehow, you know, we're supposed to excuse them because apparently you got hacked. You know, you both got hacked. Very interesting. But yeah, I think this is going to be the last week that I dwell on anything negative, because I think Jeffrey Dahmer has just taken it out of me personally on like a mental level. I'm defeated by that whole saga. So I'm defeated by all the other sagas that have happened with this last week. Kanye was just the cherry on top, but this really just stole the cake. It's disappointing. It is hurtful. It is shameful, because I think that one tweet could have freed many sportsmen and women who were in the closet and wanted to come out, wanted to express themselves, but right now might go back into the closet out of fear that the public might just be like, oh, are you being serious? Are you joking? Is this another prank that we have to live with from sports stars? Whatever the case might be. It's quite unfortunate. And it's unfortunate that you can't do anything, you know. I would say, you know, as opposed to giving us an apology, how about you donate some money towards LGBTQIA plus shelters, LGBTQIA plus homes, I don't know, the movement, you know, and maybe just go on an education of LGBTQIA plus people and their lives and their stories. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on that story. I am feeling thoroughly parched and thoroughly dehydrated, so your boy is about to just be like, I am signing off, I am signing out of here to, I don't know, to get a cup of water and just enjoy my life. But I really want to thank you for being present, for listening in once more to this crazy podcast. I really do thank you, and as always, I appreciate your ears and I appreciate your time. I hope that you guys join me next week when who knows what I'll be discussing. I definitely want to find something a little bit lighter, a little bit more refreshing, a little bit more lighthearted. But yeah, who knows? The week might just go the complete opposite way, and we might have another heavy episode, which is not what I want to give you. But yeah, I wish you guys light and love and beauty and peace as the week progresses, as always, and I hope to see you guys next week. And yeah, celebrate life. This Pride Month, celebrate yourselves, whether you are gay, whether you are bi, whether you are lesbian, trans, whatever you are. Just celebrate being gay, celebrate being whole, being valid, being loved, being seen. If not by anyone else, at least by yourself. I think that's super important, to first see yourself before the world sees you. But we're getting into other things. Until next week, my loves. Ciao.